Hi, the point of this video today is to help you as you write your legal briefs for business law. Legal briefs it's an assignment that many of my students approach initially with fear. And I think the main reason for that is that it's not a typical writing assignment. For most of my students, this is the first time that they've ever done a legal analysis of a case. And so I want to make this more methodical, and I hope that this video will help you as you approach your first or third or seventh legal brief. The first thing that I want to point out is that if you are confused or having difficulty finding a case to brief, one option that you have is a Twitter page that I set up for the sole purpose. It's twitter.com/profhales. On it, you'll find, I think I'm over 1,000 cases now, and you can scroll through these to find something that you are interested in. For example, right here, I've got kind of some recent developments in the Elizabeth Holmes/Theranos corporate scandal, now a criminal case, and how that's moving forward. I throw in some local cases and just a number of cases that deal with topics that we covered during the semester. So here we've got Ed Sheeran is in a copyright battle. We cover copyrights. We cover, moving down here, trademarks and sexual harassment. All of these things will be covered. And so that's one resource for you. Other students just have found a lot of success Googling cases that they're interested in. So my accounting students will often just do a Google search for accounting fraud cases 2020 or 2019 or whatever year it is. That they'll just find recent cases that they're interested in and brief those. So I hope that you feel that and understand that there is a lot of latitude there for you as you brief these cases. Okay. What I've done today is I've written my own brief, and I want to share it with you right now. So let me open up this document. Anytime that you write a brief, you'll start off with your own little empty Word document. And here, the title, I just wrote the most boring title that I could think of, the Little Mermaid case brief. I could have titled this Ruining My Childhood Movies. What else could I title this? The Case Against Ursula. I've got some options out there, but I'm just going to keep it kind of boring for today. The first thing that you do when writing your brief is that you will want to start off with the case facts. The case facts are all the details that the reader needs to know that will be important for the legal analysis that will come later. You may want to write this first and then come back to it and add things or take things out once you've done the analysis parts. But for me, I'm just going to kind of start to show you a couple of things that I came up with. I am, after all, writing a brief on The Little Mermaid. And so I'm going to talk about the important facts of that movie that are going to be important down the road. Again, I'm not going to talk about the whole movie. There's too many things in there that I just don't need to cover. But main things, we've got King Triton, his daughter Ariel. She's in love with a human, or thinks she's in love with she saw a human and fell in love with him. So many problems, Disney. And father finds out, blows up her treasure trove of human artifacts, even the statue of IRAC himself, sends her into a rage. She runs off to King Triton's mortal enemy, the sea witch, evil sea witch Ursula, and enters into a contract. Okay, I got the idea for this because I was reading, there's actually a Twitter post by another law professor who said, look, The Little Mermaid is really just a movie about contract law. And I thought, cool, I'm going to brief it. So again, you can find cases by finding actual cases, but I've also had a number of students that have briefed stories from the scriptures or movies like I'm doing right now. I give you that latitude, remember. So I'm going with Ariel. All right, Ariel enters into a contract with Ursula. And and here in this paragraph right here, I talk about the main elements of those of that contract. Ursula gets Ariel's voice. Ariel gets some legs. There are some conditions there, and if Ariel, for example, secures true love's kiss, whatever that means, then she gets to stay a human. If she doesn't, she becomes Ursula's property forever. For some reason, she signed this, probably because Ariel never took my class. At that point, I added some additional detail here. I even threw in a picture of Ariel signing the contract, one of those pivotal moments of the movie. Notice that she's not even looking at what she's doing. I don't know that she really read it. Important. And so that's why I've got that here and included that picture. Pictures aren't required, but if they're helpful, it sure makes them more interesting to read. All right. And then I go through some additional details about the movie. Once you've done that, now you start the actual analysis of the case itself. This is what we call the IRAC method, IRAC being an abbreviation, an acronym for issue, rule, application, and conclusion. So first things first, we've got the issue. The issue that I narrowed this down, I could write 50 pages about this, but I narrowed it down to just the contract issue. Is the contract that Ariel signed valid? Is it enforceable? I'm just going to focus on that. Now I'm going to further narrow this down by just picking out 3 different areas of contract law that I think are important for this analysis. I'll talk at the end about additional ones that I could have done, but I start off with contract law, the issues. The first one is, was there a contract? And so this first rule is the basic elements of a contract. Offer, acceptance, consideration. Boom. The rule section is quick, by the way, and cite where you got the rule from. Here, I cite the esteemed Brother Hales. You may cite something else. For example, in the second one, my second rule is that every contract in the United States, and now almost every international country as well, requires that the parties to the contract act in good faith. Good faith and fair dealing is the way that it's described. It means that you don't mess with the other party. Try to mess it up so that they can't fulfill their end of the bargain. And I'm citing the Cornell Law School. If I click that link, it'll take me to Cornell's website with the definition of good faith and fair dealing. Finally, I indicate that contracts are voidable by minors, infants, those that are younger than 18. What this means is if you are 17 and you enter into a contract, you can end it, void it at your will, at your pleasure, at any time. And there are some exceptions here for necessities, we call them, food, medicine, clothing. And so here at the rule, you're not doing anything else other than just saying what the rule is. Don't start opining on what it means. You just state the rule. Now comes the fun part. Now you get to the application section. The application section is where you tie in the rule to the case facts. These first 2 paragraphs are about, was there a contract? Was there offer? Was there acceptance? Was there consideration? I get to all of it. I talk about Ursula's offer. I even quote everything that she said in her offer. Ariel accepted it by signing that contract. And the consideration, the parties get what in return? The quid pro quo of the contract. I hit all of that. And this is where you get to have fun. This is where you get into the details. All right, so I cover, was there a contract first? I say yes. I could have argued no, because I see some issues there, but I'm just going to say there's a contract. Now, remember, my second rule was about that rule about good faith and fair dealing. And so that's where I say, despite meeting the basic elements of a contract, Ariel may still argue that the contract was breached by Ursula and therefore invalid. And I go in and I talk about Ursula breaching the contract by interfering with her performance. Primarily, I'm talking about, when Ursula sends those two eels and they knock over the boat right before they have their kiss on the water. Anyway, that's Ursula messing with the contract. And I go into detail for these two paragraphs about the good faith and fair dealing that Ursula breaches multiple times. It wasn't just that. Then she appears, takes Ariel's voice, bewitches Eric. We've got some serious contract issues. I can't even watch this movie without yelling at the TV screen. And then my third rule, of course, was Ariel is a child. She's 16. At any time during the 3 days or even after, Ariel can always call the whole thing off, say, I give up, no contract, we're done. And Ursula can't do anything about that because Ursula, entered into a contract with a child. All right. And I go into some detail about that. Finally, the ruling, the conclusion is what I should call this. I'm going to stick with my IRAC. The C stands for conclusion. And here I just want you to tell me how a judge should rule, what the end result should be. Take 1 to 3 sentences. This is short, this is quick. I don't need the rationale. All of that's going to be up in the application section anyway. So once you've done that, you've got your paper. Mine is 2.5 pages. Yours might be anywhere between 2 to 3. I've seen 4-page briefs. But the key is to get detailed in the application section. Never just say, Brother Hales, there was a contract because there was offer, there was acceptance, and there was consideration, period. That's not what the application section is. I want you to go through each of those elements and show me what happened, where it was. For example, with good faith and fair dealing. Don't just say Ursula breached the good faith and fair dealing by knocking over the boat. Nope, that's not good enough. I need you to tell me how that breached the duty of good faith and fair dealing. If you do that, be detailed, you're going to be just fine. And I hope that you enjoy this and have fun. So good luck and happy writing.